everybody, it's Binge the Body Whisperer. Coming to you from my space. I'm on day 6 of 7 doing just kind of a comeback in from having taken 3 weeks off roughly for dengue fever. So just getting back into that today. I went out and ran the stairs. I did my walk this morning, ran the stairs. So I did 2 sets of stairs, 25 up and down, up and down. Now I'm gonna just do my 12-minute workout. And yesterday I filmed my kind of stretching routine. So I'm gonna do that after this. So I'll film the 12-minute workout, then I'm just gonna do my own. So basically do your own stretching afterwards if you wanna use the one that I filmed yesterday, which I think is number 70, DailyWEE 70. That one kind of gives you some of what I do for stretches. Mostly it's rolling out hips, hip flexors, so as just kind of this whole area up into my rib cage. Some of the muscles that are in the back here, because something seems to be off, so they're not quite firing correctly. So as it is, they seem to be getting better when I do the rolling. So I'm just gonna I have everything set up here. I'm gonna just turn off the AC because it gets a little bit cold in here while I do it. I'd rather be a little bit warm than cold. And then I'll just kind of talk you guys through it. Again, it's basic. If you guys have the gym boss, you can do your own. If this helps motivate you, great. Do your own things, listen to me jabber. You don't have to do what I do. Find what works for you and then do that. So I've got that set up. I've got my band. I'm going to do TheraBand. I think that's pretty much it. Yep. So first things first, I'm going to do just bent over, like a rolling down the spine. Right there is where I start to feel something. You can paddle your feet back and forth, kind of come up into a flat back, drop back down. You can grab elbows, so right hand on left elbow, left hand on right elbow, sway from side to side. Rolling back up the spine, taking your time. Do an inverse. And the shoulder shrug, and now we're on break, so that was about a minute. So the second one, since I did the leg stuff doing the stairs, today I made a new record. I got to level 15 on the first one. I try and run as far as I can. So we're doing T push-up. So I run as far as I can, and I try and keep beating the previous days. So I started off, I think I had 9 or 10 the first time I did it. And then I kind of jumped to 14. And then today I got 15. It's usually my first one. By the time I get to the second one, I only can run up to like 10. And then I'm just huffing and breathing. So it's a start. So I'm gonna just keep looking at that. It's kind of a good marker for myself just to kind of gauge if I'm getting, improving or maintaining. And for me, right now, I think I'm very, very satisfied with maintenance. I don't need to go out and be better than my 25-year-old self. There's no need for that. But if I can be equal to my 25-year-old self or equal to my 30-year-old self, okay, take a break. Or even equal to yesterday, I'm good. So we're gonna do twist, if that makes sense. Like, I'd rather be almost, because I'm not running races, I'm not competing. The only competition is with myself in a sense, and that's truly a place where it's only with you. Unless you are competing in a sport, then null and void what I just said. Because obviously you're trying to beat others, but if you're just competing with yourself, to me, why do you gotta get, we've already passed our prime, or at least I have, right? So for me, it's like if I can maintain this body right here, which, you know, science says that I probably can't, which I get, but if I do the little things every day that I need to do to maintain this body right here and maintain my level of, you know, flexibility, joint mobilization, some cardio, some muscle tone, I'm gonna be pretty happy, right? So if I could be this body until I'm 60, 70, 80, whatever, I don't know. That's my goal. You know, that might be crazier than anything, but all I can do is try. Because the worst case scenario is I do it and I don't maintain, but let's say I maintain better than if I wouldn't have, right? So I'm out nothing, right? And if every day I wake up and I feel a little better today than I did yesterday, which I actually felt a little better today than I did yesterday, so that's good. You know, when I'm consistent with my stretching and the working of my muscle groups, especially in my lower body, my back feels better, it's looser, my hips feel better. The more I do cardio, the more I can do, I don't know, it improves my mood is pretty good, but it doesn't hurt. You know, definitely I feel energized, I feel like I have a little more pep in my step. My longevity okay, we're break. So that was inchworm. Now we're gonna just jump into a squat. Don't worry, I'm ahead of it. We're at 5 seconds to go, but I'm just gonna do a little extra. I like squat. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Went to Bohemian Rhapsody. I really, honestly, I wasn't expecting much, because sometimes biopics are a bit watered down in a way. You never know, like, you don't want to do a full documentary, because then why don't you just do a documentary? And sometimes you can't and then you can't do maybe like about just a, you know, you're not necessarily doing just a made for TV like recreation. So, you know, it kind of depends, and you never know how the storyline is going to go. But I thought they did a pretty good job. I was pleasantly surprised. I laughed a lot more than I thought I would, but I think some of that humor came from the fact that over the last year, I happened to, and I didn't know that this movie was coming out, I happened to do a deep dive into Freddie Mercury and Queen, just kind of on happenstance. I got into something I saw, I think a top 10. So now we're gonna do downward dog. I think I saw the top 10 musical moments. So we're in a high plank, dropping down to chaturanga. So you're just hovering over the floor, let that warm up, you know, get a little bit of a shake going. And then we're gonna go down into downward dog. So I think I found on one of those like Watch Mojo or something, you know, top 10 rock moments of all time. And it was on that list, I think it's number 1. And I was like, what is this Live Aid, you know, Queen at Live Aid? Why is it considered the top rock moment of all time? And so I looked at it and I was just blown away. Like Freddie Mercury's stage presence, their sound, how the audience responded to them was just unbelievable. They were singing with him, he was getting them to do stuff. I thought, what an interesting, do a quick reverse back bend just to kind of, now take a break. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna do a little more cobra back bend, and then I will throw in just a little bit of downward dog to kind of, those two things are the yin yang kind of, yin yang, I don't know, whatever. You know what I mean. So we're gonna just drop down into chaturanga, go up, just using the lower back and back down, and lower back, hands off feet, and back down. And then we're just going to gently, using kind of our arms, back bend, and then up all the way. And we're going to just roll through just to give it a little bit of stretch those hamstrings out, back down into chaturanga, and then we'll do another one of these. 8 seconds, we're just hold this. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good. Great. So yeah, so I didn't even know the movie was coming out this year, and I just saw that, and I got really into him as a. Okay, I'm just gonna do TheraBands just to give myself a little bit of a break. I'm kind of tired at that point. Change it up. So I'm gonna do the I'll do this TheraBand, then I'm gonna do the V-sit, and then I'm gonna go and do the shoulder shrugs with this TheraBand again, just to break it up a little bit. I like that a little bit more. So I'm gonna do this stretch. So yeah, I just kind of got into, so then I ended up going for Halloween as Freddie Mercury. It was pretty funny. Except with the mustache, and I just went to India, and actually Freddie Mercury his family was from India. Like his family is, I think, did I say Parsi? They fled to India from Persia after there was like persecution, I think Muslim persecution. That's like 1,000 years ago. So he grew up, he was born in India, but then he was born in Zanzibar. His family had moved there for work, or his dad did. And then I guess when Zanzibar, I forget now, it's in Africa. It's a country, I forget what the country is now, but it's not Zanzibar anymore. All right, we're gonna go down into a bowl. But he moved to England when he was younger, like a teenager. Might have been like 17 or 18 or something. I think he didn't move there until after. Then he went to college there, design. He studied art. Interestingly enough, the other 3 band members two of them I believe now have PhDs. Not sure. One of them was I think an astrophysicist. The other studied, and they talk about it in the movie, electrical engineering, and then the other one was a dentist, or studied to be a dentist. So they were an interesting group of individuals, which I like. All right, and I'm just gonna do a little bit of, so try and have it be even, and then I'm just gonna do some shoulder shrugs. I'm gonna grip down a little further just to make it a little tougher. So yeah, this year I did a deep dive with that group, and it turned out perfect that they ended up doing this documentary on him, or biopic on Queen, which I just really enjoyed. There was some funny moments, and I think it was funnier because I did know a lot of the Queen kind of like lore and some of the stories and stuff. It's kind of fun. But there's not a whole lot when you start looking on the internet. It's a lot of the same interviews with Freddie Mercury, so they have a ton. They have more with the drummer and the guitarist. The bassist, John Deacon, actually, when Freddie Mercury died, it really hit him hard, or at least is what it says on Wikipedia, is that, because I was wondering why you never see him anywhere, so he decided to he was like, it's not the same without Freddie, so he ended up leaving the band. Obviously, he's involved in any, financial things, because he is part of Queen, so anything financial, they have to, all 3 meet up on that, but he doesn't do a whole lot with the band as far as performing. So that's it, guys. I'm gonna just shut this off and then do my quick little rolling out of my spine and stuff, and glutes, hip flexors, stuff like that. So keep moving, people. Binge the Body Whisperer out.